Bourdain had this fascinating show called No Reservations. If you have never seen the show, he would pretty much travel around the world and try exotic foods. Later in his life, he was depressed and committed suicide. Well, that made me think maybe I should go around the world and look for the tallest bridges and interview depressed people on the bridge. The show would be called We'll Cross That Bridge When We Get There. You know what's worse than surviving jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge? The economy, gas prices, that and generative AI making Chads believe they're artists. And don't even get me started on fake porn and crazy sex bots that are apparently going to be the future. Sorry to be pessimistic, but the world fucking sucks nowadays. We should give everyone a choice, even all the 5-year-olds. You know, my body, my choice. We've got to start passing out DIY euthanasia kits. You're never going to own property. You're never going to be able to afford college. You'll never be able to retire. And AI is going to take your influencer job. You might as well kill yourself. Here's a euthanasia kit. Sponsored by Planned Parenthood. No, but really, my new plan for committing suicide is to tour college campuses and argue with students about how there's only 2 genders. If I survive Charlie Kirking myself, then I might actually be the first person to legitimately fail more at death than at life. What happened to Charlie Kirk was very tragic, but I think I know why the reason it happened. This upcoming generation is just too soft. All these anti-bullying organizations and assemblies in high school, they're working too well. Woke children are getting too easily offended, and what do? Resort to gun violence. That is why I advocate for mandated parental bullying. Seriously, roasting your children is an evidence-based practice. Hear me out. You know what the suicide rate is for transgender youth? 40%. If you think about it, bullying the trans out of your kid is basically saving their life and maybe even the next Charlie Kirk. We need more Fox News dads saying shit like no pussy gay boy of mine is going to wear a dress to school and shoot national treasures. Now go get me another Keystone Light. Speaking of giant failures, have you noticed that ICE and CPS have a lot in common? You know, both organizations love going into people's homes without permission, and both organizations love sending children away from their families. The only difference for me is I wasn't deported. God bless America, God bless childhood trauma, and best of all, God bless capitalism. Go America, #1. Really though, as someone who's a former foster youth and dealt with CPS, I can tell you, I'm glad I got beat as a kid. Now I get maximum financial aid for school, I receive government benefits. You should all be jealous. Your taxpayer dollars are funding my comedy career. Life hack for all you moms and dads out there. You can also make sure your children receive unlimited financial aid, government benefits, and other resources. All you have to do is beat your children and get them into foster care. And life hack for all you kids out there with ambition. Get yourself a new mommy and daddy with this new life hack trick. You know what else is neat? When Trump decided he had the authority to bomb Venezuelan cartel boats, Congress voted down the legislation that would have stopped him. To be honest, I support it. Ever since a drug overdose killed my mom, I've hated drug dealers. That's why I intend to help Mr. Trump by ramping up this new war on drugs, by throwing hand grenades at all the drug dealers at the Santa Rosa Transit Mall. And even if you're not a drug dealer now, us retards collectively remember you selling us some oregano in high school. Selling a retard fake weed, you know you had your karma coming to you at some point. Everyone who is groaning right now, just relax. I know not all homeless people are drug dealers. That's the Venezuelans. You should be mad at them right now, not me. They're the ones stealing your jobs. Alrighty, different subject, I guess. As a suicidal white man, honestly, I have more options for role models than ever. Like, how many times has Trump been shot at? Clearly, all I'm saying is he doesn't want to be alive either. It's a great day and age for someone like me to be alive. My new favorite white role model has to be Cam Scatterboo. If you don't know who that is, it's the new football player on the New York Giants, who looked like his goal is to receive a new concussion on every play. Just when us sports people thought those snowflakes might cancel football, they're all worried about brain damage. Here comes Scatterboo, like, make CTE great again. He's basically on the 15-year plan for Charlie Kirking himself. If this is your first time seeing me do comedy, I need you to do me a favor and put your hands up. Everyone put your hands up. Yeah, put your hands, clap, clap, yeah. If you fucked your mom, fucking weirdos. How does it feel to get tricked by a retard? And anyways, while I'm here, I don't know if ever you guys have heard of this. They had this thing during the Vietnam War. It was called Project 100,000. It's where they sent a bunch of retards to go fight on the front lines. I think we should bring it back, you know? Have all the people with Down syndrome go on there and kill people, you know, because retard strength is real. Trust me, I would know. Tragically, these retarded soldiers were 3 times more likely to die than a regular soldier. Most people don't know this is where the acronym RIP originally came from. It was never rest in peace. It was actually retarded in pieces. Honestly, I think we should bring it back, but call it Operation Human Shield. All those guys with Down syndrome, they would kill it on the front lines. Imagine instead of sending Navy SEALs and Army Rangers into Russia or Gaza, we send our nation's top crack hosts, and they would join the Moron Corps, the best of the best, from San Francisco, Detroit, and New York. Now that would be a true crack squad. They would honestly be our country's best WMDs. You know, weapons of mass diseases. Too bad my mom died of a fentanyl overdose. Under my plan, she could have been a war hero. I want people with cerebral palsy on skateboards and people in wheelchairs with assault rifles in the back protecting the front lines. We would call them Hot Wheels. Obviously, they need some special training, so when the news comes out that Trump named Tony Hawk a general, this is why. What's crazy is how I can actually kind of see this happening. I bet you've heard the joke, what do you call a bunch of autistic kids with guns? The Special Forces. But for real talk, we all know all the nonverbals are great at video games. Our autistic drone force would be unstoppable. Fuck the Chinese hypersonic missile program. No offense to any Chinese people out here. Konnichiwa. But, anyways, switching gear, does anyone here do public transportation? Let's make some noise for public transportation. Yeah! Well, I ride the bus and it's getting a little too crowded lately. It's mostly getting crowded by an increase in dickhead high schoolers. It's almost like this TikTok brain rot is infecting kids by the minute. I'm not saying I'm rooting for school shooters or anything, but I wouldn't be mad about a window seat to my job at the Home Depot every now and then. What I hate the most are these annoying dumbass Gen Zers, skibbity toilet, and this fucking 6'7" nonsense. I also find it funny how all these elderly people are like Gen Zers and younger generations are going to be the hope and inspiration for the future. All I have to say as a Gen Zer, no the fuck we ain't. I'm a Gen Zer, and even I realize me and my generation are fucking retarded. Actually, I take that back, because that's an insult to all the retards. If all the Gen Zers, Gen Alphas, and Betas are the hope for the future, we will be living in idiocracy. Yeah. Crazy how that movie is a documentary. That and the movie Her, you know, because all the younger generations are fucking all these AI robots nowadays. After seeing the UFC fight and dirt bikes on the lawn of the White House, I now understand why aliens, and no, not immigration aliens, but outer space aliens, have decided not to invade Earth. Aliens are also seeing all these obese people and junk food and being like, come on, save the wheelchairs for the people who actually need them. To be considered or disabled, you usually have to be born crippled or be in an accident. Nowadays, you don't need to be born crippled or be in an accident. All you need to do is eat Doritos at McDonald's to get your own wheelchair and be considered a cripple. Like, come on, you're not disabled. You're just a badass. Get up, get some steps in. Unlike the people in the wheelchairs, you can't do that. Okay, anyways, that was whatever. Speaking about killing people I don't like, can we talk about Hitler's barber? Thanks a lot, buddy. I mean, I find it real hard to blame poor little Adolf. First you get rejected from art school, and then your barber does that shit to your mustache. Honestly, having the world's biggest freakout and killing 6 million people doesn't seem that bad. Okay. Don't get me wrong, the Holocaust is a tragic event. It was so bad that 6 million Jewish people died. Also, so many disabled people died. A lot of gypsies died, and even some Jehovah's Witnesses. Only thing that makes this event more tragic is it's the 6 million more people who could have done my taxes. I promise it's not related to all my Hitler jokes and genocide, but you guys know how we put down deranged animals like deer with Lyme disease, or raccoons with rabies, or your dog whose dumbass died at 17 from Alzheimer's. I'm just saying I'm not sure every person with Tourette's that's called me a faggot needs to be alive. Also, if we can bring back the dire wolf from existence, we should bring back Adolf Hitler. I feel like there has to be some genetic company in the South trying to bring back Adolf Hitler. I say we go for it, but we accept him into art school this time and change history. I feel like everyone deserves a second chance, even Hitler. Have you heard of Operation Paperclip? If you don't know what Operation Paperclip was, this is an event after World War II where the United States hired Nazis to make America racist again. That and to help make America build nuclear weapons. Which now is pretty ironic because now we fund all the Jews. So all to the Nazis out there, you played yourself. Another ironic thing is how Nazis hated all the retards and disabled people, but they themselves were most likely autistic. You mean to tell me the Nazis kept track of all the people that they killed and tortured in the concentration camps? Not to mention that Nazis also had a hyperfixation on trains. I don't know, it sounds pretty autistic to me, I'm just saying.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And other retarded news, there is a state that has officially legalized betting on the Special Olympics. I'm sure you will all be shocked to hear that it's Florida. As someone who is technically qualified, I'm considering competing and offering insider trading. If anyone is diversifying their retirement, why have a boring 401k when you can invest in my Special K? My FanDuel code will be DURR. That's DUR for anyone stupider than me. There you go. As a retarded man that routinely makes jokes about my suicide attempt, I usually get two kinds of feedback from people. Peter either awkwardly asks me, "Are you sure you're okay?" Which honestly I am. Nobody needs to worry about me since that question doesn't make me want to kill myself even more. Actually, it does. It really does. People either, and then the other thing they ask me is, have you ever considered memorizing your material? Like, come on, man. I mean, I know I'm retarded, but I'm not that retarded. But I also am kind of that retarded. Like, sure, I like to be able to memorize my material. Let me just stop taking Tylenol and let me get back to you on that. As you probably know while I'm here on my set, I have a bunch of diagnoses, mental retardation, anxiety, depression, list goes on. So I'm like Friedman's, if you name it, I've got it. Speaking of DEI and retards like myself who can't remember their comedy material, I've got a bone to pick with that whole movement. How come DEI is helping all those diverse people get promotions in positions of power, but they're leaving out us retards? I feel like DEI's mission won't be complete until they put one of us in charge of a Fortune 500 company. After all my experience with hookers and taking advantage of state funds and tax dollars, I think I've got a lot more in common with those CEOs than people realize. If only I figured this all the way back when I was a foster kid, I'm sure Jeffrey Epstein would have had a few positions for me to take. Unfortunately, I missed my chance and had to wait until I was 22 and jump off a bridge to get my back broken. See, this is what I hate about OnlyFans. They're ruining my chances in this sugar dad economy. As a legitimately retarded man, it's been hard because it seems like all the highest paying jobs are all on screen handling balls. You got the NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball. Forget about it. Then came along OnlyFans. You know what they say, every niche has a silver lining. Okay. You know, everyone has a sense of mental retardation. Sometimes I wish I had Down syndrome. You know, so I can say the only thing from down is up. Kind of like the only thing from crippling depression is more crippling depression. Also, I think instead of the song Get Up, Get Down with the Sickness, what about Get Up, Get Down with the Syndrome? They say people with the most amount of trauma and crippling depression are the funniest. Hence why I want to kill myself while I'm sweating balls doing comedy in front of you. Just remember, if you don't laugh, you're an ableist because it means you can't laugh at a retard. Also, in case you guys didn't know, Disability Queer Month is now a thing. As someone who's mentally retarded, people are going to assume I'm gay now. I mean, it's the 21st century, so maybe I am gay. However, what I find more ironic is how Pride Month is already in June. But that's not enough, I guess. All these disabled folks have to show the world that not only are they disabled, but now they're a bunch of homosexuals. What's next? NAMBLA Month, because child pedophilia isn't recognized enough? Or Billionaire Appreciation Month, because Jeff Bezos faces so much oppression. I mean, it's gotta be rough being a billionaire. What if we just moved Alzheimer's Awareness Month to 9/11? Because I can't remember to never forget. Speaking about Disability Pride Queer Month, my friends in the Alphabet Mafia came up with the word gender fluid about 10 years ago. I still don't know what it means. Where do you get it? What do you put it in? Where does it go best with in dinner? I'm just saying, every time I'm on Amazon looking for cheaper blinker fluid, it gets added to my cart. I think I wasted money for no reason. While we're on the topic of gayness, I was in Ireland for 12 days studying abroad, going over if the potato famine qualifies as a genocide. You know what I think? I think Ireland should win a war for once. If they had better weaponry, Britain wouldn't have kicked their ass. However, on the contrary, how is it that Britain conquered everyone's land, stolen everyone's culture, and took all the world's spices, and still has the blandest food in the world? Honestly, how is baked beans and toast considered a delicacy? At least Americans know how to cook and make food. And to all the Karens that make raisin potato salad, blame it on the Brits because you're the reason why you got bland food. While I was on the trip, for all the youngins out there, as an FYI, don't get white girl wasted in Ireland. I wish you could have met this girl because she was batshit crazy. She was saying stuff like, I want to get so drunk that I would need a liver transplant. I was like, bitch, at the rate you're going, you might as well need one now. She even said her dream job was being a bartender. She doesn't want to be a doctor, an engineer, or a teacher. She just wants to be an alcoholic. Never knew alcoholism was aspirational. No offense to all the bartenders, but I'm just saying, she was the definition of don't raise your expectations and never reach for the stars. I went all the way to Ireland to suck a dick for this joke, by the way. It was easy to find a dick to suck because contrary to popular belief, SF is not the gayest capital of the world. It's Galway, or more like all gay. You thought it was the potato famine? Nah, more like the closeted famine. Their whole diet was potatoes and cum. Not to mention, if you really think about it, there's more rainbows in Ireland than there is in SF. Come on, SF, step up your game so Galway doesn't steal your role at the gayest city on the planet. On a totally different note, Could you imagine if Keith Richards being one of those people in your high school that teach DARE, then he says something like, you don't want to end up like me when you grow up, you know, like a heroin addict or snorting cocaine off women's breasts. Keith Richards is still alive and kicking at 82 after all his drunk parties and his rock star lifestyle. People who say money doesn't buy happiness are full of shit and have never heard of Keith Richards. At this point, the cure for cancer, obesity, and other diseases isn't actually exercise, laughter, or science. The cure is heroin, optimism, and having a fuck ton of money while living a rockstar lifestyle. Sorry to all the kids who have been lied to all these years about the importance of exercise and science. Oh, okay, thanks. The only thing I hate more than the dumbass people around me are the dumbass people online. What I find crazy are the amount of genuinely stupid people I've interacted with on social media. Not retarded, actually stupid, especially with all this Artemis moon landing mission talk on sites like Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, whose users just use clickbait or literally believe we didn't land on the moon, the earth is flat, or the Holocaust never happened. Like, all these Jewish people are like, I got these tattoos for fun, or let me just scan my barcode at self-checkout to see how much I'm worth. People are the worst. One day, I was out and about with some douchebags I thought were my friends. Here I was at 16 years old as a weed virgin and a rebellious dumbass teenager smoking the devil's lettuce. These motherfuckers laced my marijuana with angel's dust. You know, PCP, or you like to get wet? Honestly, I don't know what that means. I just learned it from the movie Training Day. I'm fried out of my mind, going crazy, you know, throwing rocks out of grocery store windows while picking fights with random strangers and yelling racial slurs in public. I don't smoke weed anymore. However, I still do PCP. Anyways, I will end my set by saying if you're thinking about killing yourself, make sure you do it successfully. Because depopulation is good for the environment. Especially to all the Karens in the world that no one likes. Actually, a matter of fact, I think we should bring back the Darwin Awards and just let stupid people kill themselves. But everybody matters and seek help if you need it. Thank you and have a great night. #nihilism.